There is a lot to be said about Adelaide. They are playing like I said, a very sustainable. It's a very sustainable brand of football, but I think it's up to whether some of their, for one, bodies hold up, and just some of the fitness of some of the young kids. But I'm not going to waffle, but I
Yeah.
do want to get into North Melbourne. Positives for North Melbourne, just quickly off the bat. Their kids were pretty good. Their
Yeah.
kids are carrying this team at the moment. Harry Sheasel, Bailey Scott, George Wardlow, absolutely putting this team on their backs and just carrying it through to the other side. Even Taron Thomas was quite serviceable as well, another young player. But let's get into the fact that when it comes to their senior leaders, so when it comes to players like a Griffin Logue, like a Ben Mackay, like Davies Uniacke, I won't blast Nick Larkey. He's been too good this season to put on blast. Somebody like a Cam Zerha, somebody like a Jaden Stevenson, a great example. Jaden Stevenson should be leading from the front. Players like Cam Zerha should be leading from the front, but they're just getting caught up in. Basically, they're the ones that are getting caught out and bringing no effort to the table, and they're basically what's causing some of these massive losses for North Melbourne. If their senior players were able to bring it every single week, we'd be seeing a lot different. Basically a lot different Adelaide's side, North Melbourne side. But the fact that it's only the kids who can only do so much every week, getting their bodies absolutely battered around, it's just not. That is not sustainable football. They've got some captains that really need to be looked at in the off season, and I know that's probably harsh to say, but to me, it's just they don't really have any leaders, and that's their biggest problem. It's been their problem pretty much since they got rid of players like Harvey, since they got rid of players like Petrie. They just haven't really had some big on-field presence as a leader since then. Simpkin tries to be, but I still don't think that he really, really pushes himself to be the leader of these boys. And Zeeble was a really good leader for a long time, but has fallen away in previous seasons and just hasn't been able to get himself to the form that probably he would like. Well, and probably not that he needs to be in. I mean, look at his age, look at what his body's been through as a North Melbourne player. So yeah, I think there's a lot to be said. I think Kane Corns said it perfectly today, which was Adelaide and North Melbourne started their rebuilds at the same time. These teams should be at the exact same point. This is the measuring stick for both clubs, realistically. And Adelaide should be absolutely absolutely be proud of themselves, I should say, because at the end of the day, that's how you do a rebuild. And North Melbourne have gone down the Carlton route, where it's going to take them another 3 to 5 years to get themselves back to any sort of relevancy. We're going to be talking shit about them for as long as we do this podcast, it feels like, until they can find a way to get themselves right. But I'll stop ranting there. But yeah, it's just North Melbourne's leaders are just non-existent to me.
13 losses in a row for North Melbourne.
You can't tell me that they're in any better position than they were in last season.
And it feels like there's light at the end of the tunnel. It's just one good draft year away, maybe two, maybe some reinforcement, but we just don't know with the coaching personnel they've got and the leadership they've got as well. And the contracts they've got. Now, salary cap, you've got to spend at least 85% of your salary cap. So certain players will be on at least 500,000 or more. And you'd be like, how the fuck did they get on that amount of money? So someone like a Jaden Stevenson, someone like a Callum Coleman-Jones, they're on big money. Someone like Griffin Logue is on big money. Someone like Ben Mackay will be on big money next season, regardless of where he's at, whether it's North Melbourne, Essendon, Port Adelaide, or someone who's in desperate need of a key defender. Their youngsters are good, though. Anyone under 21, that's the silver lining for North Melbourne. Hit the draft one more time and nail it. They finally nailed it in the draft last season, where instead they went with someone like 2 years ago, they went with Will Phillips over Logan McDonald. Now, Will Phillips is a good midfielder, However, I'm pretty sure Nick Larkey would have preferred someone like Logan McDonald over Will Phillips.
I believe Will Phillips has become a bit of a whipping boy.
I don't. That's a bit harsh on him. He had, I think, glandular fever last season, which impacted it. So he's finally, he's back to full fitness. He'll come good, but compared to a Wardlaw, Sheasel, you got Braden George already out for the season with a knee. He's going to be tough as nails as well. And then obviously hit the draft. I don't know what they're going to be drafting next season, North Melbourne, unless they want to target Harley Reid or another young midfielder to build up their core midfield for the next 5 years. We don't know. We don't know.
To me, it's potentially what they need at the moment is potentially some key pillars. So maybe if they can find a key forward in the draft, a key defender, potentially a ruckman, like a really solid ruckman would really help them at the moment, like a young kid that's going to develop. And like you said, maybe some fringe midfielders that they can potentially develop into some gems as well. Like I do think there's positives that's coming for them. I just think at the moment it's not the kids that are letting them down. It's not the development that's letting them down. It's the leaders that are letting them down.